Welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to talk about something rare, something most people have forgotten how to use, something more powerful than clever words, loud opinions, or quick reactions. Silence. Pause. Many people believe power comes from talking, from having the fastest answer, from filling every quiet moment with words. But deep inside, true strength often lives somewhere else. It lives in the pause. It lives in the space between words. It lives in listening. Listen carefully. The loudest person in the room is not always the strongest. Sometimes, the quietest person understands the most. Sometimes the one who says less notices more. In this video, you will learn how silence builds wisdom, respect, and inner strength, and why learning to listen more than you speak can completely change your life. Everything is explained in very simple English for beginners. So, take a breath, open your mind, and let's begin. Lesson 1. Silence is not weakness. Many people fear silence. When a conversation goes quiet, they feel uncomfortable. They rush to fill it. They speak just to avoid the awkward pause. But here is an important truth. Silence is not empty. Silence is not weak. Silence is powerful. Think about it carefully. When someone stays calm and quiet during a heated argument, what happens? The other person often calms down too. Why? Because silence has weight. It creates space. It gives both people room to think clearly instead of reacting emotionally. Now imagine the opposite. Two people shouting over each other. Neither one is listening. Neither one is thinking, only reacting. This is what happens when silence disappears completely from our lives. Another important truth is this. Silence gives you control. When you speak quickly without thinking, you often say things you later regret. But when you pause, when you allow a moment of silence before responding, you give your mind time to choose wisdom over impulse. Strong people understand this. They do not fear the quiet moment. They use it. Imagine a skilled negotiator in an important meeting. The other side makes an aggressive offer. A weak negotiator panics and responds instantly, often badly. But a strong negotiator? They pause. They breathe. They let the silence stretch just a little longer than feels comfortable. And in that silence, the other person often reveals more than they intended to. That is the power of silence. It is not the absence of strength. It is strength, waiting. Lesson 2. Listening is a skill, not a weakness. Many people think listening is passive, boring, something you do while waiting for your turn to speak. But real listening, deep listening, is one of the hardest skills a person can master. Here is why. Most people do not truly listen. While the other person is talking, they are already planning their reply. They are thinking about what they want to say next. This is not listening. This is waiting to speak. But true listening means something different. It means giving your full attention. It means noticing not just the words, but the tone, the pauses, the emotion behind the sentence. It means asking yourself, what is this person really trying to tell me? When you listen this way, something remarkable happens. People feel understood. And when people feel understood, they trust you. They respect you. They open up to you more. Think about the people in your life who make you feel truly heard. How do you feel around them? Safe, valued, comfortable. Now think about people who never really listen, who interrupt, who change the subject back to themselves. How do you feel around them? Unheard, unimportant, distant. This difference. This is the power of listening. Another powerful truth is this. The best leaders, the best friends, the best teachers They are almost always excellent listeners, not because they lack ideas, but because they understand something deeper. People do not just want to be spoken to, they want to be truly heard. Lesson 3. Talking too much can cost you respect. Have you ever met someone who talks constantly? Someone who fills every silence, interrupts every sentence, and always needs to add one more comment. At first, it may seem like confidence, but over time, something changes. People begin to tune out. Their words lose value. Why? Because when someone talks too much, their words become like background noise. Constant, predictable, easy to ignore. But now think about someone who speaks rarely, but meaningfully. When they finally say something, people lean in. People listen closely. Why? Because their words carry weight. Their silence made their voice more powerful, not less. This is an important lesson. Talking more does not mean you are more intelligent, more confident, or more important. Often, it means the opposite. It can suggest insecurity, a need to fill space, a fear of the quiet moment. Real confidence does not need constant noise. Real confidence can sit comfortably in silence. Lesson 4. Silence helps you think clearly. Every day, our minds are filled with noise, notifications, conversations, music, videos, constant input, constant stimulation. And in this noise, something important gets lost, the ability to think deeply. Think about the last time you sat in complete silence, with no phone, no distractions, just your own thoughts. For many people, this rarely happens anymore. Silence has become uncomfortable, almost unfamiliar. But silence is exactly where clarity is born. When you remove noise, your mind slows down. Random thoughts settle, and underneath all that mental chatter, something quieter begins to speak. Your true thoughts, your real priorities, your honest feelings. This is why so many great ideas come not during busy, loud moments, but during quiet ones. A walk alone, a quiet morning, a silent moment before sleep. Many successful people understand this. They protect quiet time deliberately, not because they are avoiding people, but because they know silence sharpens the mind. Without silence, thoughts become shallow, reactive, scattered. With silence, thoughts become focused, deep, intentional. Another truth. Silence teaches patience. In a noisy environment, we expect instant answers, instant reactions, instant results. But some of life's biggest questions do not have quick answers. They require quiet reflection, sitting with a problem, allowing an answer to slowly form, rather than forcing one out immediately. This is why silence and wisdom are so closely connected. A wise person rarely rushes to speak. They sit with the question first. They think before they respond. And when they finally do speak, their words carry the weight of real thought, not the emptiness of a rushed reaction. Lesson 5. Silence protects your energy. Have you noticed how tiring it can be to constantly talk, explain, defend, or argue? Words take energy. Every conversation, every opinion shared, every reaction given draws from your mental and emotional reserves. People who speak constantly, who feel the need to comment on everything, often feel drained without understanding why. They are spending their energy carelessly, giving it away to every conversation, every disagreement, every distraction. But silence protects your energy. When you choose not to respond to every comment, not to explain yourself to everyone, not to argue every disagreement, you conserve something valuable: your peace, your focus, your inner strength. Think of energy like water in a cup. Every unnecessary argument, every reaction to a small insult, every moment spent explaining yourself to someone who will not listen anyway, pours a little water out of that cup. Silence keeps the cup full. It lets you choose carefully where your energy goes, rather than spilling it everywhere. This does not mean you should never speak up. It means learning to choose your battles, learning that not every comment deserves a reply, not every criticism deserves a defense, not every provocation deserves your attention. Strong, calm people understand this deeply. They do not waste energy proving themselves to everyone. They save their words, their explanations, their energy for what truly matters. Lesson 6. Listening builds real relationships. Think about the strongest relationships in your life, the friendships that have lasted years, the family bonds that feel unbreakable. What do these relationships have in common? Almost always, deep listening. When someone truly listens to you, without interrupting, without judging, without immediately giving advice, something powerful happens. You feel safe. You feel valued. You feel understood. And this feeling builds trust like almost nothing else can. Now think about relationships that struggle. Often, at the center of the struggle, there is poor listening. Two people talking past each other, not with each other. Both waiting to speak, neither one truly hearing. Listening is one of the greatest gifts you can give another person. It says, without any words at all, you matter to me. Your thoughts matter to me. I am here, fully present, for you. This is why the best relationships are not built by the person who talks the most, or knows the most, or has the most opinions. They are built by the person who listens the most carefully, who asks good questions, who remembers small details, who makes the other person feel truly heard. If you want deeper relationships in your life, start here. Listen more than you speak. Ask more than you tell. Notice more than you assume. Lesson 7. Silence gives your words more power. There is an old truth that remains completely accurate today. Words spoken rarely carry more weight than words spoken constantly. If you speak all the time, about everything, your words slowly lose their impact. But if you choose your words carefully and speak only when it truly matters, people begin to notice. They begin to value what you say. Think of silence as the frame around a painting. Without the frame, the painting can look lost, unclear, unfinished. But with the right frame around it, the painting stands out. Silence works the same way with words. The quiet moments before and after you speak make your words stand out more clearly. This is why powerful speakers often pause before an important point. Why wise people often wait before answering a difficult question. The silence itself becomes part of the message. It tells the listener, what comes next matters. Pay attention. Lesson 8. The world rewards those who listen. Look carefully at the people around you who are truly successful, not just financially, but deeply successful in their relationships, in their careers, in their inner life. Almost always, you will notice something they share. They are exceptional listeners. This is not a coincidence. In business, the person who listens carefully to their customer understands what the customer truly needs. Not what the customer says they need, but what they actually need underneath the surface. And that understanding creates real solutions, real trust, real loyalty. The talking salesperson may impress for a moment, but the listening advisor builds a relationship that lasts for years. In leadership, The best leaders do not dominate every conversation. They ask questions. They create space for others to speak. They gather information before making decisions. Why? Because they understand something deeply important. One person's mind, no matter how brilliant, is always smaller than many minds together. Listening is how great leaders access the wisdom around them. In friendships and family, the same truth applies. The person who listens without rushing to fix, without immediately offering opinions, without making the conversation about themselves, that person becomes someone others trust, someone others turn to during difficult moments, someone who holds a rare kind of quiet power in every room they enter. Another important truth is this: in every professional environment, the person who speaks carefully and listens deeply is noticed. Not always loudly, but noticed. Colleagues trust them more. Leaders respect them more. Clients feel comfortable with them. Because in a world full of people desperate to be heard, the person who truly listens becomes extraordinary. Think about interviews, important meetings, critical conversations. The candidate who listens carefully to the question, then answers thoughtfully, always makes a stronger impression than the one who rushes to fill every silence with words. The employee who observes carefully before speaking is often the one who says something truly valuable when they do speak. The world does not always reward the loudest voice. The world rewards the most understanding voice. And understanding begins with listening. Lesson 9. Silence and self-awareness grow together. One of the most important journeys in life is the journey inward. Understanding yourself, knowing your values, recognizing your patterns, your fears, your true motivations. And this journey requires something that most people rarely give themselves: silence. When your life is constantly filled with external noise, you lose connection with your inner voice. You stop noticing what you truly feel. You stop recognizing when something is wrong, when you need rest, when you are moving in the wrong direction. The noise covers everything. But when you create space for silence, when you allow yourself to sit quietly, even for just a few minutes each day, your inner voice begins to speak again, slowly at first, quietly, but clearly. Self-aware people know something important. Every strong emotion they feel contains information. Anger tells them a boundary has been crossed. Fear tells them something feels unsafe. Sadness tells them something important has been lost. But to hear these messages, you must first create enough silence to notice them. Many people avoid silence for exactly this reason. Because in the silence, uncomfortable truths appear. Feelings they have been avoiding surface. Questions they have been ignoring return. But this discomfort is not a reason to run back to the noise. It is an invitation to know yourself more honestly, more deeply, more completely, because a person who knows themselves, truly knows themselves, cannot easily be manipulated, cannot be talked out of their values, cannot be pressured into becoming someone they are not. Self-awareness is a form of inner armor, and silence is how you build it. Lesson 10. How to practice the power of silence. Understanding silence is one thing. Living it is another. Many people hear these lessons and agree completely. Yes, silence is powerful. Yes, listening matters. Yes, I should speak less and think more. But then the next conversation begins. The next argument appears. The next uncomfortable quiet moment arrives. And old habits return immediately. So how do you actually practice silence in real life? Very simply, very deliberately. Start small. Before you reply in your next important conversation, pause for just 3 seconds. Not long, just 3 seconds of silence. Notice what happens inside you during those 3 seconds. You may feel an urge to speak immediately. Resist it gently. Let the silence breathe. Then speak from a calmer, clearer place. Another powerful practice is this. Each day, find 10 minutes of complete silence. No phone, no music, no podcast, no background television. Just you and quiet. Sit comfortably. Breathe slowly. Let your thoughts move without grabbing at them. At first, this may feel strange, even uncomfortable. The mind is not used to stillness. It will look for noise, for stimulation, for something to do. Let it look, and gently return to silence. Over days, over weeks, this simple practice begins to change something inside you. Your mind becomes calmer. Your reactions become slower, more considered. Your words become fewer but more meaningful. Your listening becomes deeper and more natural. Another practice is to notice how many times each day you speak without truly needing to. Not to share something meaningful, not to help someone, not to express something important, but simply to fill silence, simply to feel less uncomfortable. When you begin noticing this habit honestly, you gain power over it. And finally, practice asking more questions and offering fewer opinions. In your next conversation, try listening for understanding rather than listening for agreement. Try asking, "What do you mean by that?" Or "Can you tell me more?" Instead of rushing to share your own perspective. This small shift changes everything. It changes how people feel around you. It changes what you learn from every conversation. It changes the quality of your relationships, your thinking, your entire inner world. Lesson 11. The language of silence. There is a kind of communication that needs no words, no grammar, no vocabulary, and yet it speaks more clearly than any sentence ever could. Body language, eye contact, presence. When you are truly silent, truly present, your body speaks for you, the way you sit, the way you breathe, the way your eyes stay calm and focused on the person speaking. These things communicate something words often cannot. They say, "I am here. I am listening. You have my full attention." In English learning, many students focus entirely on speaking. They practice vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, sentence structure. These things matter deeply, but something equally important is often forgotten. The ability to hold space in a conversation. Lesson 12. Silence in a noisy world. We live in a world that is afraid of silence. Terribly, deeply afraid. Open any social media platform. Every second, millions of people are posting, commenting, reacting, sharing, noise upon noise upon noise. The pressure to have an opinion on everything. The pressure to respond immediately. The pressure to always be visible, always be vocal, always be loud. But here is what this constant noise is quietly stealing from you. Your ability to think, your ability to feel, your ability to truly connect. When everything is loud, nothing stands out. When every moment is filled, nothing feels meaningful. When every opinion is shared instantly, nothing is truly considered. Choosing silence in a noisy world is not weakness. It is not antisocial. It is not strange. It is radical. It is brave. It is powerful. The person who can put down their phone and sit in silence is rare today. The person who can resist the pressure to comment on everything is rare today. The person who can listen deeply in a world of constant distraction is extraordinary. and extraordinary people are always noticed. Not always loudly, but always deeply. Think about what the world is asking of you every single day. React. React faster. Share more. Speak louder. Have more opinions. Be more visible. The entire system is designed to pull you away from silence, away from stillness, away from your own inner voice. Every time you choose silence deliberately, you reclaim something. You reclaim your attention, your peace, your power to think for yourself rather than simply react to everything around you. This is not about becoming cold, distant, or disconnected. It is about becoming intentional, choosing when to speak and when to listen, choosing when to engage and when to step back, choosing depth over noise, meaning over volume. Lesson 13. What silence teaches you about others. Here is something truly fascinating. When you become a skilled listener, when you learn to stay quiet and pay close attention, you begin noticing things most people completely miss. You notice the gap between what someone says and what they actually mean. You notice the slight hesitation before a difficult answer, the change in tone when a topic becomes uncomfortable, the way someone's energy shifts when they talk about something they truly love versus something they are only pretending to care about. Silence makes you perceptive, deeply, powerfully perceptive. And perception is a kind of wisdom that cannot be taught from books alone. It grows slowly, quietly, through the discipline of listening more than you speak, through the practice of observing before concluding, through the patience of waiting for the full picture before forming an opinion. People who possess this kind of perception are rarely fooled. They are rarely manipulated. They are rarely surprised by the true character of the people around them, because they have been paying attention, quietly, carefully, consistently, all along. This is another reason silence builds respect, not just because quiet people seem thoughtful, but because they are thoughtful. They have been listening while others were talking, observing while others were performing, understanding while others were assuming, and when they finally speak, people feel it, because their words come from a place of real understanding, real awareness, real depth. Lesson 14. Silence is the beginning of wisdom. Every great tradition in human history has understood something about silence. Ancient philosophers sat in quiet contemplation. Great spiritual teachers spoke of stillness as the doorway to truth. Even modern science confirms it. The brain processes information more deeply during quiet moments. Creativity increases. Problem solving improves. Emotional regulation becomes stronger. Silence is not just comfortable. Silence is transformative. And perhaps most importantly for you, right now, in your journey with English, silence teaches you to absorb. Every language learner who has achieved real fluency will tell you the same thing. There was a period of deep listening, a period of absorbing the rhythm, the music, the natural flow of the language. Before the words came comfortably, before the sentences formed naturally, before the confidence arrived fully. You cannot rush this process with noise. You cannot force fluency through constant anxious speaking alone. You must also listen deeply, patiently, repeatedly. Let the language enter you through your ears, through your attention, through your quiet, focused presence. Silence is where language becomes real inside you. So here is what you must remember, and remember deeply as you move forward from today.